if you have a side hustle, you need to find a way to make this come to life.
This year we're up like 80% based on last year.
You know, you're making an uncomfortable decision, but you're trusting in you know what you've designed.
We still haven't put a ton of money into marketing. It's been all organic.
You know, quantity second, you know, quality first.
You know, I had wanted to do something that had meant something to somebody for a long time.
Everybody has something that they're interested in, and they're afraid. They're afraid to take those next steps. Each financial decision is not in a silo by itself. It has to be looked at and how it relates to something else in your plan. And most people are not looking at the big picture. This is John Smallwood, and we are back on Money Isn't. You know what money is. Today, we're going to be diving into what money isn't. And I have a really interesting conversation today where the side hustle, haphazard, I like this thing, turned into this incredible business that's on an incredible growth rate. And I have today with me Nicole, Andrick, and Jason Pontillo of the Catskill Candle Studio. Welcome.
Hi, nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you. Now, full disclosure, I have known Jason for what, like 30, maybe 40 years?
Not me directly.
No, but your dad,
My dad definitely through all our connections, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you were just this person on the side like, oh, I need help and we're going to work with you. And then a couple of years ago, all of a sudden this really cool thing has happened and what has really made me excited about what you do. So I want to jump back for a second. Everybody has something that they're interested in. They have in their mind the side hustle. They have, I would really love to do something. And they're afraid. They're afraid to take those next steps. And I know, Nicole, you went to like a candle making like party, right? Is that what you did? Or you went somewhere? Like, how did you get involved in this?
I kind of got involved in candle making because I was always used to buying every time I went upstate or any kind of vacation, I would be buying $50, $60 candles and spending all this money on candles. And I really, truly loved candles. So I actually, as a little art project, my sister was visiting at my upstate house and we bought a candle making kit from Amazon and literally in my kitchen made a candle and a couple candles and it was kind of fun. And so I kind of started to talk to local candle makers at, you know, art, craft festivals, and they gave me some tips on where to buy the right supplies and all that kind of stuff. So I made some candles, gave them to my team at my day job for Christmas of 2019. And then I kind of had a little party with my friends that came up to visit. They made candles with me and it was kind of like a weekend, girls' weekend. And then COVID happened and I had a little extra time and I was like, oh, maybe I'll put a label on this and sell it, see what happens. And throughout the summer, I kind of like worked on a vision. My background is in design and fashion design. So I kind of had a vision and a clean, streamlined look of the product that I wanted. My friend was opening a store, October 2020, and she didn't have any candles yet, scented candles. And she was like, you know, put a label on it, let's sell it. And I dropped off 20 candles, Black Friday of 2020. And the next day she's like, I need some more. I've already sold like 10. And
Nice.
My husband, Jason, was like, I thought I could just sell it on Instagram and to my friends. And he's like, no, we need a website. And, you know, we started with, I think 4 candle scents maybe. Now we have over 30.
30,
and
35 now.
yeah, within the first 2 weeks, because I did an Instagram, some other local businesses in the Catskills picked up my line. So within the first month of like soft launching, I had 3 retailers. And now
we were selling online as well.
we were selling online as well. You know, a little bit of me posting on my Instagram and Facebook to cross promote it. But yeah, it just really kind of took off. And
Yeah.
now we're in
About 40 stores in
40
6 states.
stores.
in six states.
Yep.
And this is all
Our online business has been really great. Like we've shipped to almost all.
We shipped to 42 states.
Did
at
you
this
really?
point, and 32 this year.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
all this from like, hey, I need something to do while my sister's in town. I need to do a project. I need a distraction.
Yeah.
Now, how'd you come up with the name?
I knew, so we have a house in the Catskills as our weekend home. We lived in the city during the week. And then during COVID, obviously we were like full-time in the Catskills. I kind of knew I wanted, at first I was going back and forth with like my name, but then I knew I wanted to capitalize on the Catskills. They were hot at the time, especially during COVID. You know, everyone from New York was going to the Catskills. So I really wanted to capitalize on that. Hand poured in the Catskills, 100% soy. And yeah, people really respond. Also living in a tourist town, we're about 7 minutes from Hunter Mountain. We get a lot of, you know, weekenders, and it's a great, here's the actual candle.
Oh yeah, look at the campfire and fur. I like this.
It says hand poured in the Catskills. People feel like they can bring something home to remember their trip, to someone, a great gift for whoever watched their kids or their dog. But, you know, really the smart branding of the Catskills and capitalizing on that, especially being in a region that people have a lot of nostalgia and connection with.
Smallwood Wealth Management is the lead sponsor of this podcast. You have an opportunity to have a free, no obligation conversation with one of our qualified advisors. Go to smallwoodwealth.com, schedule a call, or call us at 800-797-1000 and get on our calendars. You're in Tannersville, right? Is that like, and you have like a little studio that people can do like classes still, or?
Yes. So it kind of definitely evolved from, we weren't even doing any like pop-up markets, and one of the hotels in the area, Scribner's Mountain Lodge, reached out to me on a whim and were like, hey, can you do a candle pouring class in our garden for our guests? And I was like, sure. And then I was like, okay, let me figure out how to do this and how to like make it mobile and have people pick their scent. So now I partner with a lot of different hotels for corporate events and for their guests to make their own 9-ounce soy candle, custom blend of their own scents, and they get to play around with the scents. And then I have a studio now. After 2 years of doing it in my kitchen, you know, making hundreds and hundreds of candles, in my house smelling like a candle, we got a studio space in town that has like a storefront. And it was originally just supposed to be a true production studio. But we had a display of our candles, and now people do come in and we use it as a retail space, but we also offer private candle making classes for groups, especially, you know, girls' weekends, bachelorette parties, corporate events, or people just looking for something to do with their group when they're up here in the Catskills.
The non-skiers who don't want to ski and their families all skiing.
The kids and the husband is skiing, the moms want to do something.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Now, you mentioned soy, and I want to understand the distinction. Like, most candles are not soy, and like, why is that important?
So all candles used to, like most people use like beeswax or paraffin was the kind of known, you know, Yankee Candle standard. And a lot of people still use paraffin. Now it's blended a lot with soy. I use 100% soy. Some people do use a soy blend, which could be some paraffin, mainly paraffin and a little bit of soy. I do market mine as 100% soy. So it's vegan. It's clean burning. Soy is just a less toxic, non-toxic thing. You won't get the black smoke. Yeah, it's more clean. You won't get the black smoke on your ceiling or on your wall when you have the candle there, or the black around the jar. So it's just a cleaner burn, and especially the trend of people wanting to be healthy. All my candles are paraben and phthalate free.
So really clean to have in the house, to have them burning. You're not going to get, yeah,
you won't get headaches. I actually am a migraine sufferer my whole life, and I don't get migraines for my candles. Especially, it's crazy that while I was making, you know, 100 candles at a time in my house, I still wasn't getting headaches.
Which is crazy when you think about that. Yeah, right. So, okay, so at what point do you, like, you put those candles out, you get into a couple retail stores, and they're like, oh, I dropped off, 20 and I've sold 10. Where you're like, oh my God, like, is this something real?
I still didn't think it was real. I still, like, you know, thought it was just like kind of fun. But as like the next year went on and more people, and really everything has been really organic, retailers coming to us. We have started now reaching out to retailers and being unfair. But what I find, I think, most satisfying about it, and what I feel is like so unbelievable is when I get repeat sales online. Like people don't just come back and order one, they're ordering 5, 6 candles. And sometimes I know they couldn't have already smelled it, but they like trust. But there's something about candle, the nostalgia, if you have a candle that you love in your signature scent of your home, you keep rebuying it. So there's such a loyalty in customers. And I find
that's interesting.
that is the thing that's like, that makes me more proud than being in like so many stores or whatever, that there's these people that keep coming back and buying the same things over and over again. Or that, yeah, from weird states. I'm like, how do they even have my candle? You know, they must have bought it or gifted.
Idaho last week, or
yeah, it's kind of like, how do you find out? Because we're not doing a big marketing push. You know, this was and is my side hustle. Jason is stepping in a little bit more full time, but we still haven't put a ton of money into marketing. It's been all organic, you know, especially being at markets. We do a field and supply in Kingston, which is a huge over 250 retail brands that sell, and we've just kind of got word of mouth and people actually buying it and loving it and giving it to other people. And I think that brings me the most pride.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I know I bought a bunch for my staff and everybody loved them. My wife loved them, and then I didn't reorder. So I got to go back and reorder. All right. What the hell's wrong with me?
You're doing after this.
But we got some new scents and some new fall stuff, but, yeah, it's very interesting. It's like, even like a year later, because we can see we have a Shopify, we run our store through Shopify. So we can kind of see the last time you ordered or, and it's funny, sometimes it will be like a full year and a half, like someone like 2 years, and then all of a sudden they reordered again. So they didn't forget about us.
Yeah, that candle's empty. You're like, oh crap, I got to get another one. Yeah. I mean, how long?
The loyalty is it's a very amazing part of it. And I think
there's a lot of trust that goes into it, which I think, yeah, it matters a lot to us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys are really interested in quality, and that was one of the things. Like, you got to control quality. You know, quantity second. You know, quality first. And I think now that you've gone through a lot of iterations in the way you manufacture and the way you make them. Like, how are you evolving from that perspective? Like, you were making them in the house. Now you've got this studio, but like, how has that evolved? How much are you still making yourself versus?
Well, now in the studio, we do have a full-time employee who works 40 hours a week, who's amazing, our studio manager and head chandler, Casey. And she's pouring a lot of most of the candles. I'm, pouring on the weekends or in the evenings sometimes, but,
Cool.
we could definitely amped up our production when we're having someone consistently refilling.
Yeah, having the studio has definitely helped us to expand and to get to markets that we weren't at, or actually, just have enough stock so that, if we get a large order or a random wholesale order, we're able to fill it within the next day. When we were just doing things out of the house, some of it was made to order because we just didn't have the capacity to, Nicole didn't have the capacity to pour, or we just didn't have the capacity to store. Yeah, to store things.
Right. So, oh my God, somebody just ordered 40 candles. I have to cancel dinner plans, and we got to now pour for the next 20 hours.
That happened several times.
Yeah, more of our wholesale order. That would be like, oh yeah, we want, here's I want 80 candles. It's like, oh, I only have 40 of them, So yeah, it was a lot of more.
Yeah, or like I had plans to cook dinner, and there's fragrance oil all over the counter, and it's like, well, I guess we're not cooking tonight.
Yeah, it's sort of like as you jump into this entrepreneurial side, this is totally haphazard. This is totally, you love what you do. You're in the fashion brands, and you're really good at what you do, right?
And I think that really kind of helped me having a retail background in fashion, that I could edit a line, know what I wanted. I had a specific vision and look, instead of some people trying to do too many things in their business and too many products. And I was very concentrated on one thing. I also knew from the get-go, because my first candle sales were to a retailer and wholesale, I was able to build my price, knowing how to build, my cost of goods and a wholesale price and a retail price that all made sense. Because I feel like a lot of times, especially small businesses that are haphazardly I'm making a fragrance oil or a roll-on essential oil thing or some kind, or jewelry or whatever. They only build for them to sell direct to consumers, and they forget about that big wholesale piece, and that you have to build your price and where you're making, you know, margins for the retailer and for yourself.
Right. And you have to have that price consistency also. Like it's at the retailer, it's on a website, you know, the wholesaler can, you know, the store can make money. You guys are making money. Like it's just, it has to be profitable at all angles. And really I think the powerful thing is being in these retail establishments and being in these places where it's like, oh, we're shopping and we're browsing and the packaging is wonderful and it looks good and it smells good. And it's like, it's not too massive. I can have it and it's not the focal point on my area. It's an afterthought, but it gets the smells and it gets all those things out. And I think the way you've designed the brand, you could tell that you've had a lot of, you know, brand.
And my other big thing about, which I sort of spoke about earlier, I was buying the $50-$60 candles and feeling guilty when I came home from a vacation weekend and I spent $250 on candles, because I felt like at all the little stores I had to buy something and I was buying a $50 candle. So I really wanted to design a price that was accessible for the weekender and also for the, you know, town local, and having a guilt-free price at a $30 for, like, you know, a luxury candle is really kind of a good price point. You don't have to think about it as much, being like, oh, $50, but like $30 is like, okay. And then they're like, oh, I like a couple, I'll buy a couple. And then you end up with two instead of one for that price. So that was really thought about as well. So I know I always say it's like I haphazardly fell into this, but I think my almost 20 years, well, I guess at the time, maybe it was 16 years of fashion design, retailers, working for big retailers like Aeropostale, American Eagle, like that really
kind of set you up for
how to like have a successful product driven business.
And then Jason, you're, you know, doing accounting and all of a sudden you're not doing accounting the way you were doing it and your space opened up at the same time that the firm really needed somebody full time.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I've run other businesses before for other people, but it's always a little different when you're running your own. But it kind of just fell into this. This isn't something that I had wanted.
Yeah.
This is something that Nicole forced me into, that now I just, you know, have a complete ownership of, and I absolutely love it. I think the turning point for me was once it got out of the house, it started to become more real, and I started to see the potential of it not just being a candle company, but a brand. You know, and being really where we are located in town, we're one of the last things that you see when you leave town. So it leaves a lasting impression. And when people come into the studio, it's a, you know, it's a great feeling to see people's actual reactions. That, you know, we get online sales and it's great, but seeing people come in and hearing their feedback is hugely important.
Yeah.
But be able to apply everything I've done before to this, but to have such a personal connection to it. And, you know, I had wanted to do something that had meant something to somebody for a long time. And, you know, as Nicole was talking before, candles and scent, it gives you such a nostalgia, or, you know, it's such a part of an identity to a home, to a person, that I thank Nicole that she's given me that opportunity really to make a difference in a way, or to be in a part of something that does make a difference.
Right.
And I want to kind of step in about Jason's role in the business, because I knew the creative and I knew like, oh, I want to sell this and this is what I want to sell, but I had no idea. And I still, to this day, like he was like, okay, we have a Shopify website. I have no idea how the money, when someone buys something, gets into our bank account. Like, I'm so thankful that I don't have to spend time on that, because I have several friends who have businesses and they have to do, you know, both. That Jason was able to do the accounting, the bookkeeping, that kind of piece in the operations, because I have no idea how that part works and how we're being profitable. So it kind of, I always say, like, it was we were like meant to be with the two sides of it. Like it like kind of worked perfectly, because a lot of people sometimes struggle with one or the other. And here we can really separate the two and be focused on our lane. Of course, you know, being a husband and wife team, that we definitely never wanted to go into business together, and that also haphazardly happened.
It's like, oh my God, this is now we have to talk. We're literally not only are we smelling candles 24/7, we are now talking candles. We are talking about, sourcing product, jar sourcing, lid sourcing, label sourcing, distribution here. What if we did this? Like, your whole conversation is now about this business. It's no
I don't
longer.
think that there's a single conversation that we have that does not include candles or this company. There's always a little sliver of it in every single conversation, whether we want it to be or not.
So everything has now become tax deductible, right?
Yes, and you helped us with that. You told us what we could really be like. No, you go.
Yeah, like I wanted to have you guys on because I felt, when I first learned that you were doing this, I was really excited for you guys, and you could see the passion that was coming out of you about, this is a real thing. This is no longer, I'm making them in my basement, basically, right? Or my kitchen, right? I'm now, we're really evolving people, the feedback that we're receiving. That's the gratitude, like that, and that whole brand that you built. I'm going to share my screen for a second, because I want to, I've got that, that, maybe I have that. Here it is. The Catskill Candle Studio. Here, this site, like, even when you get on the site, it's a wonderful looking site. The way you've built it, the way, you could shop, you can get on this thing. I just think what you guys have done is such an inspiration to people, and I wanted to have you on today to basically say this. If you have a side hustle, if you have something that's, burning at you, you need to find a way to make this come to life. And I remember, like, a lot of our early on conversation was like, go do it. You're like, no. It was like you were fighting the success. And I think and then
it's been crazy. It's been hard. It's been hard not to fight it in a way, because it wasn't part of the plan, but also, our growth has been tremendous, and we've been extremely fortunate that we've had such great feedback. This year we're up like 80% based on last year, which is an incredible margin and the highest that we've had thus far in growth.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot about the feedback that we've gotten that has been a huge help, but also we have incredible partnerships that help us, get our name out more. A lot of the hotels in the area that Nicole was mentioning before, the partnerships that, like, people will stay there and smell our candles, whether it be that we're in their gift shop or that they're burning throughout their entire hotel.
Yeah.
People that come for that weekend either take a candle home with them or visit our website and buy from us directly. And it's tremendous amount of, support that we've gotten.
It really is. And I think, when we sit here and we talk about, entrepreneurial businesses, most of the businesses, somebody walked into something, they saw a niche, or, they were entered into, like, from a family side. Like, mine's a family business. We're now third generation of doing it. And it's like a dream come true to basically, for the two of you, for me to be able to pass on a passion, right? And, like, candles were not your passion, Jason.
No,
nothing.
Not at all. And I kind of, like, for the beginning, I was like, oh, here we go again with more candles. Like, Nicole's got to make candles, and takes time away that we were supposed to do something. But now it's
the $50 candles were cheap compared to the materials.
Yeah, I thought if I had ever started a business, it'd have been in fashion. It would have been like, that's all I thought I knew how to do, was I would, have my own business maybe when I was 35, or like a fashion line. But, like, yeah, there's a lot of fashion lines out there, and that wasn't something, I definitely didn't think it was going to be a candle business. But I think that, to your point, like, the passion of, like, what you really truly love. People ask me for years, be like, well, what's your dream job? What do you want to do? I was like, I want to do something with candles, puppies, yoga, and fashion. Like, how can I do that all? And now I have a couple of those all kind of joined together. But yeah, it seems to work out, and I think you can't fight it. And I'm excited about the future of what we could do in the next year. And especially if I eventually full-time throw myself into it as well.
Yeah,
Or that's the scary part. Like, as you said, it's the scary part to do it. Because right now I know I have my day job salary to fall back on, but this is a legit salary too. And it could really be something, but it is the I think you had once given a really good analogy about a wave, the surf coming in, and like when you actually, the perfect time to dive into it. And I'm hoping
the cliff diver, if you dive when you see the water, it's all safe. By the time you get down, it's gone out and there's rocks, right? So you have, like, that's the analogy is, you're making an uncomfortable decision, but you're trusting in what you've designed. You're trusting in your vision, and your vision, Nicole, is fabulous for this. Jason, your ability to execute that vision is a fabulous partnership. That's the key to this thing, right? Is you've got to have strong partners. You got to have strong retail partners. You've got to have strong, suppliers. You've got to have that consistency. And you guys have put this together on a hobby. Like, if you were going to give somebody advice, what would you say to somebody, who has an idea that wants to get started on something?
You want to take that one?
That's a good one for you. You're the creator and founder, so.
I think you got to do something that you're passionate about and really research to create the best product if you want to do a product-driven business. And also partnerships are really, really key.
Okay.
And also not to force something. So many people like, oh, I want to have a business. And they're thinking for years about it, or like they're doing the pre-planning work for so many years. Like sometimes this just jumping in, just doing it kind of was like, oh yeah, let me do this. But I wasn't really completely thought out. Of course, vision, there was thought in terms of like the marketing. I knew I wanted to capitalize on the names Catskills, mountains, and that, but I didn't and I had obviously done all the testing, make sure like the quality and the wick was the right wick for the size. Like there was all that. So it wasn't totally not thought out, but like having it as a business was not thought out. And I just jumped into it, and then we figured it out as we go.
Yeah,
but I was lucky to have good partners and someone that the things I didn't know, the other person knew.
But also awesome. As we've talked about the aesthetic of the actual candle and such, the one thing Nicole doesn't understand or give herself enough credit is that she has an incredible palate.
Yeah.
So, she's able to balance things correctly where, it smells as it should in a way, instead of something being a little forced or, maybe the mixture not being what it should be, or, something as pleasing to everyone else.
Yeah. So here's what I want people to do. Go to catskillstudio.com. Catskill Candle Studio. I got to put my eyes. I have to put my other contact in, right? Catskillstudio.com. Catskills Candle Studio.com, and buy a candle. Check it out. Get one. See the creativity. Give them some feedback, right? This is send it for holiday gifts. Do something that's really, really powerful, right? Give it to a gift for yourself. But most importantly, if you have an entrepreneurial energy or a desire, check out the story. This is awesome. So I really appreciate having you guys on today. And I look forward to I want to get you back in about 6 or 8 months and just where are we? And give us an update. I love it. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks.